I remember when I learned that peanuts are legumes, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. I thought that peanuts were nuts, and legumes are like peas. And then I looked at the name, and I was like, wait, peanuts? They had pea in the name the whole time? These nuts have been peanuts all along? These are nut peas.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy. We've got news, we've got used. Let's do's this. We are the Mattitude Eric. I'm Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Hello, everybody.
Eric, this is so depressing. I don't even want to talk about it, but I guess we're going to. But maybe you'll
Yeah.
just do the talking. Maybe you just talk about it, which is that what's happened? Like Paramount has won this war to purchase Warner Brothers because Netflix backed out. What? Give me the skinny while I ignore you because I need to shield myself from trauma.
I
Okay, go ahead.
mean, you kind of said it. I mean, like Paramount again, uh yeah, I gently mock my friend Matt because I said don't say it's a done deal when he said it was a done deal in December with the Warner Brothers, but it seemed like it would have to go through all the finalizing, but that was the deal they accepted. That Warner Brothers was like, yes, Netflix will own us, and if it gets approved, this is what's happening. But David Ellison, was not going to take no for an answer. Was doing this hostile takeover thing. Came in with this crazy, large, outbid in a huge way, a much higher amount. The whole thing being that they want it all, right? Like the whole thing that they wanted all the cable, they wanted CNN. We'll talk about why this is one of the main reasons this all feels really shitty. Whereas Netflix wanted just the studio side, wanted the movie and TV studio, but didn't want the cable channels and all that stuff. And those were gonna be spun off separately. So yeah, they came in with this much higher bid, and Netflix could have countered or matched, and everyone thought that would be the next move is. But Netflix said, you know what? No, we're fine. Netflix said we're out, and it was a surprise when
Yeah.
when it happened yesterday. Not that we knew Paramount was going aggressively, and that this was gonna there'll be like now some more back and forth. But I don't think anyone expected because it was within like an hour. It was like, oh, Paramount just came in. I mean, Paramount just came in with this crazy higher bid. Now Netflix needs to match that. And they have 4 days to do that, I think. And then it was like an hour later, they're like Netflix put out the statement being like, no, we're walking away from the table, which Netflix's stocks went up a lot in the wake of that. I never understand exactly how stocks work. That's fine. The bigger thing being, I think Netflix gets $2.8 billion for this because there was a penalty fee if this
Okay, sure.
didn't work out. But Paramount will pay that. That was part of the deal Warner Brothers made because obviously they're saying if we're switching to you, we'd be on the hook for 2.8 billion, and Paramount saying we'll pay that. So Netflix gets almost 3 billion for nothing. I mean, for time wasted, but
Well, for
still.
selling out America. I mean,
Yeah,
again, this
yeah.
is the whole point is that like everyone was bummed about Netflix, buying Warner Brothers, but not realizing that, just soon after we would be hit with a much worse offer, which is the MAGA laced Paramount now going to own all of Warner Brothers in its entirety, which and their fucking fascistic political leanings will infect everything trickling down to us
And
in terrible ways.
this is all
As
recent.
I go towards the worst case scenarios for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because this was a incredible case of lesser of two evils. Because Warner Brothers being sold at all again was a bummer. Warner Brothers being sold to a giant studio, other studio was really worrisome and bad no matter what. Netflix was bad because of the fact that they don't really care about the theatrical market. And so it all felt shitty and awful, but now we're in this situation where it feels like the worst case scenario because Skydance and Ellison, since they bought Paramount, and we already knew he was really in with Trump, and we have talked about his dad being like one of the richest people on earth and who can back all this financially.
Is
And
he like the fourth or sixth
or
richest
yeah,
person on
yeah,
the
he's in
planet?
the he's in
Yeah.
the
So
top 10. So Larry
uh,
Ellison, and the fact that they're like deeply embedded with like MAGA and Trump, and the fact that they have clearly turned CBS News into this much more right-leaning thing that has made a lot of old school CBS News staff quit, and people being kind of aghast about what they're turning into. So the fact that they're now going to own CNN alone is like shit, and then the fact that they're going to own Warner Brothers,
and then like also like what does it mean for like the John Oliver or anything on HBO and like,
yeah. Well, I mean, we saw Colbert's gone, going to be gone soon because of all this, because of the like acquiescing to the current administration. So yeah, it just feels really skeevy and definitely like the worst case scenario of two bad scenarios. And yeah. And look, I see a lot of people that are like, people going like, into a bunch of like galaxy braining this and being like, hey, Paramount's going to be so deep in debt from this. Who the fuck, maybe Netflix will buy it all in a few years and all this shit. I don't know, but it's like, it's all bad.
How does that help me now? How does that help me now? I don't know. Yeah, whatever.
Even if old Paramount had bought in Warner Brothers, we'd be bemoaning the fact that there's one giant studio absorbing another one, less competition, less work. This is going to result in so many layoffs. There would have been some layoffs too, a lot with Netflix, but I think it is actually known that it'll be way more with the Paramount and Warner Brothers redundancies. And so yeah, it's just going to add to a lot of shittiness that's already around the industry. Besides the politics of it all. Anyway, it's great. Everything's awesome.
Everything's awesome. Everything's going exactly according to my best laid plans and my hopes and desires and dreams. And nothing to see here, folks, as the fireworks factory goes off behind me after a car crash. It's terrible. I don't like it. You didn't put this on the docket, Eric.
And we should say, again, this does have to go through all the approvals, too. It's just that
there's still time to stop this.
Yeah.
I don't know who I'm Punisher? Who can stop this, Eric?
Because
who am I calling out to?
We don't think
sending up the bat signal for?
We don't think the president or his administration is going to try to stop this.
No, I wouldn't. That's not somebody.
And I will say it is notable that Ted Sarandos, one of the heads of Netflix, went to the White House to meet. I don't think he met with Trump personally, but he met with people for the administration earlier in the day Thursday. So it's like this was happening in real time, and it sounds
they just intimidated and muscled them out, and then gave them $3 billion. Yeah.
I think it, but I also think Sarandos must have come out of that meeting being like they're firmly backing Ellison, which is what we already kind of figured, and it's not worth it, right? Like if they're making it this obvious they'll make it a lot easier for them than they will for us to get this deal, then why are we going to go through all this? And that's probably a big reason that they walked away a couple hours later.
And then Robert Carradine died. Whatever.
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 Don't whatever.
Robert Carradine. Oh, so before we get to Robert Carradine, I wanted to say, because you didn't put this in the docket, and I need to bring this up because Taylor Sheridan has a show. He has many shows. The Yellowstone is the big flagship, and then there's the spinoffs, etc. There's another spinoff coming from one of the, was it Rip or Drip or somebody from the show? I don't know. Some more. Yellowstone has food in the markets. Have you seen the Yellowstone beans and the frozen?
I've seen the frozen food,
and the jerky and all that stuff. Anyway, there's a ton of Yellowstone food. Does he do Mayor of Kingstown?
Yes.
Okay, because he also has Tulsa King, which is a Sylvester Stallone Prime Video or Paramount Plus. I don't know what
it's a Paramount Plus. Most of the whole thing is that
the whole Sheridan,
all of them except the original Yellowstone, because they made that Peacock deal they regretted. Yeah, are on Paramount
never
Plus.
Seen a lick of Tulsa King. It's a Taylor Sheridan show. He's like a old, aging mobster, crime boss, etc., who comes out of prison and goes back to his life in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Set there, obviously. They were going to have another show, shared universe / spinoff, not sure, called Nola King, set in New Orleans. But those plans were scrapped. Do you know what it's called now, Eric?
Oh, I do, but I'm forgetting. I know they switched the city, so they switched the...
well, it's my town, Frisco.
That's right. That's right.
It is Frisco King, starring Samuel
I forgot
L.
it's your town. I knew it was your neck of the woods.
Eric, Frisco? As if this is a real place? We're a suburb. I mean, yes, there's a mayor of Frisco, but this is not real. Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Louisville. I'm naming cities. Tulsa is just fucking Chili's and, Frisco is just Chili's and chain restaurants and fucking the Stonebriar Mall. We're just part of the DFW Metroplex sprawl. There's nothing distinct about Frisco, which is why this is hilarious to me. No, okay. Couple notable things about Frisco that may be of interest. The PGA headquarters are here, so there's golf courses. There's going to be this Universal Kids theme park opening up at some point in Frisco. The Dallas Stars practice here, like they have a training facility. The Dallas Cowboys, not the Stars. That's the hockey team. So they have the Cowboys training facility, but it's just suburban sprawl, Eric. It's not like a Tulsa, my point. Frisco King is hilarious to me.
Well, it reminds me of, because
it's like if it was Pacoima King, Eric. Like
no, I know. It reminds me of a short-lived Fox sitcom in the early 90s, Bakersfield PD, starring a very young Giancarlo Esposito, where the joke being, if you know Bakersfield, it's like, yeah, no offense to Bakersfield, but it's like a nothing. It's like a
that is the joke. Except this isn't a joke. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
This isn't like, or even Tacoma FD, which is the Super Trooper, the Broken Lizard show about the firefighters in a place where it rains all the time. Anyway, but like, this is ridiculous. Anyway, we've talked enough about it, but I thought that was like a fucking court jester made up that show. Okay.
But anyway. Also, I just like that Taylor Sheridan has this obvious formula now of older big stars who will draw in an older audience who will fucking love and watch these shows religiously. So Samuel Jackson will watch this. Yeah. Samuel Jackson is starring in Frisco. What's it called? Frisco King?
Frisco King. Yeah, okay. He's the king of Frisco.
But he also
with the fucking Kroger's and the HEBs and like there's nothing here. Like,
but he also has the Madison coming, starring Michelle Pfeiffer and Kurt Russell. So all these people getting nice paydays to make your parents or grandparents very happy.
Fucking Frisco. Is he the king of Gearbox Software? Does he make the Borderlands games?
I hope. That would be cool.
Also, the National Video Game Museum is here, by the way, which is pretty cool. So Robert Carradine sadly took his own life a few days ago. He was 71. He is known to 80s movie heads for the Revenge of the Nerds movies.
Yes.
Possibly of the 80s, movies that have aged the worst, like in retrospect, as far as like looking back at like the comedies, the sex comedies that we watched. Like there's the Porky's, Revenge of the Nerds, obviously Soul Man never aged well. I don't even think it aged. I don't think it was good back. I don't even think it was received well back then. There were a lot of things in 80s high school comedies or college comedies where people just pretended to be other things, like where the girl pretended to be a guy and just one of the guys. Like you would just dress up differently or do blackface. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, Robert Carradine, known to me for those movies. I can't really think of anything else that I would know him from.
Yeah, because generationally...
But I'm sure he's been in other things.
Well, no. I thought you were going to... The huge thing for the generation after us was he was the dad on Lizzie McGuire. So Hillary Duff did a very sweet tribute to it. Like a lot, like he's very important to another generation because he was on that show, and he was on the reboot that only filmed an episode or two before they decided not to do it with the Hulu because they didn't want Lizzie fucking. But he was going to be on the adult Lizzie reboot they tried to do a few years ago. But anyway, so yeah, generationally, he has these sort of two very important roles. And I just want to say, with Revenge of the Nerds is a complicated movie in history, but also for me personally, because I loved Revenge of the Nerds as a kid, and I watched it a lot, and I know that movie very, very well. And I also realized, yes, it is aged of other things where we say this aged poorly. This is a more egregious, like, why did we ever accept this, right? Like, what we're talking about, obviously, like, there is the sexual assault, I'm going to trick you into having sex with me because you think it's someone different, and how it's like, Jesus, like, I can't believe we just were like cool with that. But I do have to say it is weird. It does speak generationally that people were cool with this. There was not any widestream, mainstream like outrage. But I also want to say Revenge of the Nerds is a weird movie because it has this egregiously awful part, but it's a funny, silly movie that my friends and I used to quote a lot and do especially him. He had the big nerd laugh. Anthony Edwards did not have the super crazy laugh. But also, it is a notably heartfelt movie in a way that is a funny pivot, but that it works, especially near the end, where like they really like they play it totally straight. Like when they're that dejected and they like go onto the field, and that Robert Carradine is a very good actor because not only was he playing this sort of over the top dorky guy, but when he has to sell like this is fucked up and this is why it feels fucked up, he does a really good monologue at the end of that movie. So it's just like it's a weird. Again, I want to actually rewatch Revenge of the Nerds because of his passing away, and the movie. I'm sure because Disney's like now that they own 20th stuff, they're like, oh, it's not legally available digitally. But I would like it to be, even though I realize it's probably one of the biggest movies they should. Even though I know some people hate disclaimers at the beginning of old movies saying that contextually things were different. But this one they probably should say contextually it wasn't that different. But I don't know, we were just kind of fucked in the head at the time. But it's also a pretty great movie. I know if I say if you can excuse this awful thing, and I was very sad to hear about this because I watched those first two many times. I also wanted to mention just in passing that there was the terrible third and fourth ones that were TV movies, but that most of the cast came back for.
Look, Ted McGinley's having a McGinley renaissance now with Shrinking, so he came back for those movies, yeah,
and he got a redemption arc. Stan Gable got a redemption arc in those movies. So
wasn't he the dean? Wasn't he like the new?
He gets made the dean
headmaster
at the end. I think he starts that movie a traffic cop and ends it the dean of Adams College. So.
Oh, that's the natural pipeline for academia.
I might be wrong, but that is my memory of that movie. Anyway, Robert Carradine, very talented, obviously part of like a major Hollywood family. And this was very sad to hear. And I do want to acknowledge that I think it hit the Lizzie McGuire generation a whole different way because this is a beloved TV dad. So that was very sad for them too. So R.I.P. to Robert Carradine.
Speaking of 80s stars, but this is one who's already come back in a huge way in a big property. Winona Ryder, let's talk about her and the others announced for Wednesday season 3, a show that, yes, despite those announced, I will not be watching because I did not watch season 2, and that's just too much for me. But Winona Ryder is joining Tim Burton. Well, you've watched most or half of season 2, so
I watched because they put it on in 2 halves, and I watched the first half. Yeah,
Winona Ryder is rejoining Tim Burton for Wednesday season 3, but also joining the cast are Chris Sarandon, Fright Night and Princess Bride fame, and Ava Green. Who is a spooky chick in her own right because of Penny Dreadful and other things. But yeah, Ava Green, who has worked with Tim Burton, yes?
Yeah, Dark Shadows.
That's right. I didn't see that, but yes, I knew she did something. Okay.
Yes.
So those are announced for Wednesday season 3.
So Eva Green was already announced, and I was like, that's good casting. Wednesday is a completely mediocre show that I would love to love. And I visually, obviously, I like some of the visuals. It has a couple fun moments, and Jenna Ortega is great to watch, being, droll Jenna Ortega, which she does so well. But it's not actually a really well-written show, and it's very mediocre. And that's why I didn't watch the second half of season 2. Not that I hated the first half, but I was like, it's more of the same. But I will just say kudos to them for bringing in Eva Green and Winona Ryder, because I'm like, okay, a bunch of hot gothy girls that I love. Generationally speaking, you have Jenna Ortega there already. You have Catherine Zeta-Jones. So it's like, if you're into like beautiful raven-haired women in a goth setting, this is a good show visually.
Disgusting. You're going to make me barf. Yes.
Wouldn't it be great if it also had good writing? That would be wonderful too. But hey, and also I do like that Tim Burton and Winona Ryder continue to collaborate together. So there you go. They'll get me. They'll get me as much as
they will not get me. You can't get me. I'm not going to fill up on the bread. That's for sure. Right. We knew about Ryan Coogler doing X-Files and X-Files reboot. Yeah, we knew about that. He's doing the pilot for Hulu for a revamped remodel of the X-Files. Whether or not it's a whole new thing, right? It's not like a legacy thing where Mulder and Scully are in it. Do we know this? We don't know this.
No. Anyway. I reading between the lines, it'll absolutely be a legacy.
It feels like a new thing.
No.
Like a sequel.
I think even the plot description about like they revive an old, FBI.
Okay, so like where Mulder and Scully did work the X-Files, but this is about new.
This is my prediction. This is a Skinner's in the pilot, and Mulder and/or Scully pop up in the season finale of season 1. This is what I think. Yeah.
Even though Ryan Coogler is attached to it, it makes me less excited that might happen. I wish it was actually because it's Ryan Coogler. I wish it was a whole new actual remake.
Yeah.
Or reboot instead of a legacy thing. Anyway, he announced that Daniel Deadweiler who I very much enjoy in both Station 11, which is an amazing miniseries you can see on HBO or Max or whatever. And also, I saw her in The Piano Lesson, which is basically a movie based on an August Wilson play. Tremendous, good stuff. That was like in 2024. But yeah, she is going to be as the co-lead. We don't know who she's acting opposite of this series, as basically one of the agents. We don't know if she's the believer or the skeptic, or I don't know. But like, basically, it's two highly decorated but vastly different FBI agents. So we don't know which one Deadweiler is playing, but she's playing one of them.
Yes.
And Eric, Jennifer Yale has been announced as the showrunner. Have you checked out the Copenhagen test? Because everything about that show, like the people behind it and in it, make me want to watch it, but it didn't get great reviews.
No, I've not seen that. I've not seen that.
Which is, it has Melissa Barrera and Sima Liu.
Oh, yes, yeah.
James Wan is a producer, and like it's like almost a sci-fi spy show or something. On Peacock, I think. But anyway.
Yes, it
debuted Scream 7's out this week, so if you want to see a Melissa Barrera thing, you can watch the Copenhagen.
Because it won't be Scream 7. It debuted over the holidays. I have not seen that, and I also was hoping it would get a bigger response, just because I liked all the elements involved. But yeah, we should say that, Coogler, this is a real passion project. He's talked a lot about this, that he and his mom, giant X-Files fans. It was like kind of a bonding thing for him and his mom, that they loved this show and would watch this show together. He's directing the pilot. He's actively involved. This is the thing he's doing before Black Panther 3.
I mean,
is
Michael B. Jordan, he's not going to be the other agent, but he has to be in it, right? Because
I think so.
Coogler. He never does anything without him.
Can he be the new cigarette smoking man?
Yeah.
There you go.
Or just make him the new Skinner. Again, don't bring back any of the old actors. Just do it totally new.
I think it's going to do. I do want to.
Is he Tooms? Is he the stretchy worm guy? Like, is he one of the monsters of the week?
That'd be amazing. No, I think it's going to do the thing of gently acknowledging it's in the shared universe. The problem is that puts the onus on when are they coming? When are they coming? the minute you acknowledge that Mulder and Scully exist, it puts this pressure on it. Which, is hard. I also am curious in the streaming era. I'm very curious. This is only in the pilot stage. I am pretty optimistic this will go to series because it's a giant franchise, now Disney owned. Ryan Coogler is red hot. There's a lot of reasons to think this will go to series. Will this be Hulu's attempt at the pit, which is to say, will this get like a decent 13 to 15 episode season? Because Coogler's already talked about the mixture of standalones and mythology episodes. And you need that for the X-Files to be done right. I think a lot of us feel, in retrospect, it's very funny to think back on X-Files when it was airing. We were so excited by the mythology episodes. In retrospect, because the mythology episodes never really paid off well, now we look back more lovingly on the standalones because there was so many great Monsters of the Week episodes. So I hope it's a good mix, but you can't do that in 8 episodes. So I hope that they get
and that was the
run.
Problem. Even with something where there were like 13 episodes for like the Jessica Jones show, and we wanted more cases of the week for her PI profession.
Yeah,
Well,
I think they
even with 13, I think they could have. And they didn't with 13.
They didn't.
And they should have. Just like they should have had court cases for Daredevil. Like again, those 6, 7, 8, 9 episodes drag. And they were like, this is when they could have done those other things.
Yes, they could have done those fun other things. I always think, I do think it's a shame he's not the only voice, but it's funny that Charlie Cox didn't like the bank episode of Born Again because I thought it was really fun, and B, I want more episodes like that mixed in. Like here's just like a Daredevil having a fun little side quest.
Cox
adventure.
Hates standalone anything.
It is funny. We don't know the status of the Buffy.
I don't know why I said that as a declaration. I thought it would be sort of funny to say. It's not. I have no confirmation of that one way or the other. I just think it's a fun. I mean, I just wanted to say Cox.
I get it. I get it. If this gets greenlit, which I think it will be, I'm curious about the status of Buffy because we haven't heard much about it, but I still think it's in play. So it would be funny if Hulu's future, which means Disney Plus's future,
is this Buffy and X-Files?
Buffy and X-Files,
90s sci-fi fantasy monster shows. Yeah.
Yep. Now Disney.
Now, 2 more things here. One Piece, the One Piece season premiere for its 2nd season, which is coming out in March. The first episode will be in theaters.
First 2.
Why'd you put this here?
I only put it there.
Why would you put this here?
Because obviously they were happy with
We don't watch it, Eric.
No,
I'm
but
just okay.
because Stranger Things' finale was such a moment. Now, it's not going to be as big as that, but
Mm-mm.
it is when you look at, first of all, like there's a whole other world out there. Because look at how much money these anime movies have been making. Sony distributes a lot of them here. There are all these movies that are something so and so the movie, the animated movie version of a TV show with 500 episodes, and they make a shitload of money.
Like
And
Master Ninja, like in the 70s.
all these,
They used to do those. They used to combine 2 TV movies, and then Mystery Science Theater would sometimes do them when they were
oh
released
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
No, these are actual movies. It's just that they're based on these TV shows. But yeah, One Piece, incredibly popular anime. I think it must obviously be a popular live action show. I think it's been pretty well
I think
received.
it's like of the live action adaptations of these shows, which are usually pretty poorly received, this one is
Yes.
the most accepted.
It feels like people were more into this than the Airbender one. But even though they're finishing Airbender. But yeah, anyway, the only reason I put it here was to say they clearly, we wondered after the eventizing of the Stranger Things finale would, especially as we talk about Netflix's complicated relationship with movie theaters, they will not be owning Warner Brothers, but the fact that they're doing this, that they do see them, and they did these incredibly popular sing-along K-pop Demon Hunter, two-day showings. So the fact that they're doing this at all, again, it points to a future that we're already kind of seeing, which is movies has more and more events, which is not a great thing as far as like mid-budget movies and comedies and things that you just want people to go to the movies is going to be harder and harder. Everything has to be like a special event, whether that be a mega franchise new installment or something like this. Like, hey, we're debuting the new season of a popular show. Come see it with fellow fans. So, yeah, basically saying like, well, Netflix wants to keep doing that, so we'll see. Like, in retrospect, they should have done it with Cobra Kai, and I remember the producers even saying that because it played. So I watched. I don't think they showed us the very last episode, but they showed us the penultimate one at the premiere. The premiere. They showed us like a couple different episodes, including the penultimate one. And yeah, it was super, and with a bunch of fans, and it was super fun. And it would have been cool if that had been a national event. And I think if it happened today, it would be. And so, yeah, we'll see if Netflix keeps doing this with stuff going forward.
Yeah. All right, you want to talk about this Becky-verse quickly?
Yeah.
Which is to say, there's 3 movies that you may not know exist.
Yeah.
Which is the Becky-verse.
Yeah, I will just say that I'll use this as my recommendation because this was a pleasant surprise to see this week that the last temptation of Becky has been announced, which is part 3 of a trilogy you might not know has been happening the past few years. And the first movie of which came out height of the pandemic, summer 2020. And that I saw at a drive-in theater in my year of going to the drive-in theaters as someone who cannot not go see movies on big screens. And I would drive an hour to 90 minutes to a drive-in theater to watch these movies, mostly revival stuff. Beyond Fest was presenting a lot of like Fury Road and The Thing and Nightmare on Elm Street. But a few first-run movies like Freaky and Bill and Ted 3. But Becky was the first one I saw as a first-run movie. And it was really fun. And it got a sequel a couple years ago called The Wrath of Becky. And my quick log line is that these movies are about, the first movie is about a 13-year-old, because she keeps getting older, so she's 16 in the sequel, but about a teenage girl who keeps running into neo-Nazis, but she is basically like a Hannah type. She has been trained to do very lethal things, and if you want to get the satisfaction of seeing this girl decimate a bunch of awful neo-Nazis, it's super fun. And now it's become a bit, because the first movie, the villain was Kevin James. So these movies, they play it straight. Like there's a little winking, but it's not like a comedy. It's playing it straight. So there was this big casting against type that Kevin James was the leader of the neo-Nazis in Becky. And now it became a bit. So the second one, the villain is Sean William Scott. And the now announced Last Temptation of Becky, Neil Patrick Harris. So lovable, goofy persona people play these.
I will say though that at least I've seen Neil Patrick Harris as like a creepy serial killer in Gone Girl. So yeah, like
we even saw him as a pseudo-Nazi in Starship Troopers.
Yes.
By the way, yeah. So he has dabbled in this more. But
as I did a cursory glance on Wikipedia of these movies, I was very pleasantly surprised to find out that Lulu Wilson, the star, is part of the Flanagan Gang, and that Kate Siegel is a recurring character in these movies.
Yep, she came in the second one, and she'll be back in the third one. This is all correct. I don't want to like oversell these movies. They are just sort of goofy, like exploitation-ish fun of like seeing this kid decimate awful people. But they
Yeah.
are, they are well done for what they are. I've enjoyed both of them. The first one in a drive-in theater, and the second one I actually saw in a theater. And I'm happy they're making a third one. And I see that the first one in America is currently on Netflix, so it's easy to see. And so is the second one. So you can watch the Becky movies on Netflix, and you can be ready for the last temptation of Becky, which I'm glad is happening.
All right. I have a recommendation too that's also sort of a hey, it was pretty good. But
Mhm.
like not to oversell the movie, but I'll get to that after two write-ins here. One
Mhm.
is from Kermit, who writes in response to our Goldfinger episode, which just dropped. Thunderball is up next on Monday as we do the Sean Connery Bonds. Kermit writes, "Oh my God, this is great. I watched this movie again, and yes, while the opening song, villain, Bond girl, car, and gadgets are all at the top of their game in this movie, like you both mentioned, it's just not my favorite Bond movie. Like Matt said, I don't know if I would put this in this top five or even my top 10. Admittedly, Goldfinger's plan to control all the gold in the world and raise the price was actually genius, though. Out of Connery's, though, Thunderball and From Russia with Love are much better. Dare I say, Diamonds is better since the first half of the movie is much better than the second. Side note, rewatched Man with a Golden Gun after like 20 years, and it was always said to be one of the worst, but I really like the movie more than what people say. Yes, so he says the JW character. He's talking about a character named Sheriff JW Pepper.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yes.
yes, the JW character almost ruins the movie, and the song is kind of abysmal, but I love the plot and pacing of this film more than the others. Thank you, Kermit. Yes, we're not getting to any of the Roger Moore Bonds, but Roger Moore had an interesting run with his first two movies had a character called Sheriff J.W. Pepper. They was comic relief in the first movie, and then they brought him back in a European setting as Sheriff J.W. Pepper's European Vacation, where he gets caught up in a Bond chase
It
again.
felt like they were setting him up for a spin-off, honestly.
Yeah. And then the two movies after that had a repeat character in Jaws, which was the giant metal tooth assassin. So he had these he had these like two pairings of movies with like shared characters. Yes, Man with the Golden Gun is usually considered one of the lesser Bonds, I would say. Which is it's weird with Moore because we're usually not going to talk about Roger Moore in this series, but like Live and Let Die was a huge movie, like box office wise, and then like it's startling, like the tanking of not full tanking, but the drop for Man with the Golden Gun, which had Christopher Lee in it. Anyway, thank you, Kermit, for writing in. Yes, Thunderball is up next,
And yeah, I think we did talk about it on that episode, but yeah, Golden, I keep doing it. Goldfinger, yeah, well, enjoyable stuff. Not one of my favorites, but look, first of all, Bond movies, one of the longest running franchises ever, and every long running franchise obviously will be always debates about which is the best,
and
which is your favorite.
Because it's generational, everyone's Bond is going to be who they grew up. Favorite Bond is going to be who they grew up with. So,
but then within that, there'll be arguments about which is the best. But which is to say, I don't want to like it's very hard for me to be like, no, you're wrong, because I understand there's so many factors. But also, I know we both did appreciate the Goldfinger wants to, yeah. I thought it was a nice twist. The like wants to make the other gold not valuable.
Going to irradiate Fort Knox gold. Yeah,
that was a fun twist on what was expected. Yes.
Nick writes in, greetings, Matt and Eric. I was curious if either of you, most likely Eric, since he has the uncanny ability to see a film half a dozen times prior to the release date, managed to attend the advanced screening of Evil Dead Burn in Riverside. Did you go to that, Eric?
No, I did not. There's a weird thing where test screenings now.
That I don't think that's a test screening. Like that's not like that's not like a press screening or anything.
It's not a press screening, but they like promote them now. It's like a weird.
Weird.
Like they'll be like, hey, it's just a weird thing now where it's like
it used to be a secret. Yeah,
it used to be a secret. They wouldn't even tell you off. Not always. Sometimes they would tell you, but if it was a bigger title, they'd often a franchise. They might not even say the title, but now there's so much more printed. No, I don't feel comfortable going to those. I know the studios wouldn't want me to go to those, so I do avoid those if I'm not invited to something. I'm not going.
Anyway, Nick wanted, if any of us, mainly you, Eric, had seen this, it wanted to know your take, which I don't even think you could give at this point, even if you'd seen it.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be allowed to give it anyway. But yeah.
We should just mention that it's crazy though that Evil Dead Wrath is already in production.
I was going to say this is a good
Yeah.
excuse to talk about how they're stacking these Evil Dead movies right now. So yeah,
And they're both
before this,
completely
yeah,
standalone, and none of the same characters or director. These are just movies under kind of the Evil Dead brand. But yeah, it's weird, right? Like we went years without Evil Dead, and now it's like, here
now
they
it's
come.
like now it's like enough with the Evil Dead.
First question for Paramount: as you buy Warner Brothers, are you going to continue to making so many Evil Dead movies?
The real Evil Dead is climate change,
And
they're
when
gonna debunk
can we
it.
get
Yeah,
Jane Levy back? Can give the people what they want.
yeah. When the Levy breaks. So my recommendation is a small sort of road comedy with basically Michael Cera, Kristen Stewart, and Maya Erskine, and written and directed and starring Michael Angarano.
I never know how to say this dude's name. Yeah.
Angarano. You know who he is. You've seen him in a bunch of things.
Yes.
I know him very well from Sky High, having seen that movie a lot. But he's in a ton of movies. He was a young actor. He's now almost 40 though, so it's like he's all grown up. But he was on Will and Grace for a while, and
he was in Oppenheimer, but
yes.
everyone's in Oppenheimer, and some of them have like.
I was in Oppenheimer. Yeah, it's fine. I guess he was on This Is Us. I never watched that. Anyway, so he wrote, directed, and starred in this movie. It's just from a few years ago. It's from 2024.
Yep.
And if you liked A Real Pain, which I think also came out in 2024, this is very similar to that Kieran Culkin, Jesse Eisenberg dynamic, which is like almost too free-spirited guy with almost too uptight guy, right? And you can imagine that Michael Cera is the uptight guy here. So the movie is basically about a husband and expectant father who's riddled with anxiety, is contacted by his old friend who he's doesn't like to be around because he's kind of irresponsible and flaky and too free-spirited. But at the moment of Kristen Stewart, who plays Sarah's wife out of her pregnancy, Sarah is driving her crazy. So she's sort of like, yeah, you should go do stuff with him. And they take an impromptu road trip up to Sacramento. And I think it's just a very fun, endearing, small movie. Wrestling fans would also be interested to know that in a pretty prominent supporting role in the middle of the movie is someone named AJ Mendez, who plays a lady that they meet up at a bar in Sacramento. And anyway, I just like this movie. And I also liked finding out that Michael Angarano and Maya Erskine are married and have a kid. Oh. And that he's in this movie. And I think they met before this movie, but she's just in his movie here. But I think they have 2 kids now. Anyway, and that it's just funny also, who acted together before? Sarah, Kristen Stewart, were they in anything together? Was Angarano with Kristen Stewart? I think they were in something together too.
I mean, they were so contemporaries, so it feels like
It's all a very talented cast doing a small, charming movie, which is what I recommend. And I found it easily on streaming. It's somewhere. But anyway,
yes. I wanted to see this. In fact, I almost went to not like the premiere, but like an LA special screening that the cast were at that I couldn't make it the last minute, and then I was like, oh, too bad I missed it because I'm casually friendly with AJ Mendez, and I saw afterwards I didn't realize she was in the movie, and then I saw she was at this premiere. I go, I almost went to this premiere, and then I was like, oh, that's because she's in the movie. But
I will say it's funny. It's funny that in the context of the movie, it's not too spoilery to say is that like she and her roommate like kind of own a gym and there's a wrestling ring in it, and you think that like, oh, is this where like they get wrestling moves put on them? She does not do one single wrestling thing. But
it's weird because she looks at the ring like Rhodey in Iron Man 1 and she says next time. It's like
next in Sacramento too.
Right?
I also think that I realized that he probably met Maya Erskine because Angarano was on Pen 15.
Oh, okay.
So that's where they met. Anyway, which you should watch, as well as the Mr. and Mrs. Smith season that came out that she's great in too. Okay. That's my recommendation. That was the news. That was the Youse. Until next time, everything is possible, but nothing is real. And shock.
Shockma.
Shockma!